So it gives me great pleasure to bring a slightly different thing. We like to mix things up here, so we've got a bit of a funky presentation that could go wrong, but I don't think it will. It will go brilliantly. Yesterday we had Latin America's hottest talents. This time today with influencers, we've got a global edge to it as well as some Latin America. So we're going to cover culture, fashion, and politics, which is going to be quite exciting. So without further ado, the man who is going to chair this session is John Farrell from YouTube in Latin America. John, come to the stage and introduce your panel.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
I think we're all coming forward. Wonderful. Good afternoon, Miami. Last session before lunch, I think, so we'll do our best to keep you entertained, but more importantly, informed. We're going to spend the next 40 minutes or so diving into the world of influencers. We want to understand how some of these influencers have managed to connect with fans at a global scale, and how agencies can help brands, can help advertisers build brands by working with these influencers. We see the impact of these influencers in YouTube every single day. How many are you, and I'm curious, I know it's hard to stay engaged after so many hours of content, but how many of you were aware of a recent Variety research that asked high school students to name their top entertainment celebrities? I'm not even gonna ask to raise hands because I'm just looking at faces. Have you heard of it? Okay, what would you expect for the top 10 celebrities addressing teens? I'll tell you, when I was young, several decades ago, it would have been movie stars, music stars, right? That's what comes to mind. 8 of the top 10 teen celebrities were YouTube stars. So I don't know how many of you know PewDiePie, Nigga Higa, Smosh, Jenna Marbles, but these are the teen celebrities today. And it's not just a US phenomenon. With the explosive growth in online video and with social networks taking off exponentially, Latin America boasts one of the most active online scenes in the world. Do you know that Brazil ranks second in watch time consumption in the entire world, right after the US? And guess who's number 3? Mexico. So after years where Latin America is constantly lagging in technology adoption, it turns out that with online video, Latin America, Brazil and Mexico in particular, are at the forefront. And as a result, some of the top creators around the world are actually based in Brazil and Mexico. We have you heard of Hola Soy Germán? More than 22 million subscribers. Stars like Yuya, based in Mexico, that talk to fashion and beauty. She has more than 11 million subscribers, which makes her twice as big as some of the US stars, such as Michelle Phan or Bethany Mota. We have kids stars like Galina Pintadilla, that's animation. We have basically all throughout the region some real lighthouses. And it's not just about some of these top large stars, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. Across every market, as we'll see, we have influencers, hundreds of influencers that are connecting with hundreds of thousands of fans, if not millions of fans, in an authentic and genuine new way, which was unheard of before. The next step in our journey is to introduce you to Dom, who manages Gleam Futures, and he'll talk to you a little bit about what he's doing to help brands, advertisers, agencies use celebrity power to reach business objectives. Dom?
Thank you. So I'm Dom. I run a management company based in London and in Los Angeles called Gleam Futures. And we manage talent, but we don't manage any actors, any TV presenters, any writers, directors, or musicians. The only talent we manage, and we have a roster of 27 talent at the moment, have had their audiences born on social media. So they started talking to audiences on social media platforms. And we started 6 years ago managing a couple of girls called Pixie Woo, who are online makeup artists. And 6 years on, our roster of 27, we're expecting just those guys, just on YouTube, to drive in the region of 3.5 billion views just this year. Combined, they reach 50, 55, 60 million subscribers, and it's growing at 18% month on month on month, compounded. And up to probably the last 18 months or so, their audience and influence has been confined to social media platforms. But what we're working really hard to do at the moment and having a lot of success in is developing that talent across multi-platforms. The talent is no longer just relevant on social media because of the size of the audiences and of our talent. There's not a country on the planet that doesn't watch their videos on YouTube alone. They're beginning to publish top-selling books, star in #1 hit movies. We've published 7 books from our roster in the last year, and every single one of those books has gone to #1s in the Sunday Times bestseller list. Joe, on my right here, has just published his first graphic novel, Username Evie, and it broke all records for how fast a graphic novel has ever sold, ever. And that's with no above-the-line marketing, only his YouTube channel to publicize the fact that he's doing that. We're really, really excited about the next few years. We work with brands regularly, but next year we want to work with fewer brands, and the year after that we want to work with actually fewer brands but have much deeper relationships for relevant talent. I'm going to hand over to Joe now, who's going to tell you about what he does.
Hello, I'm Joe, otherwise known as Thatcher Joe on YouTube. And I started making YouTube videos around about 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago. And I'm a content creator on YouTube. And I currently have 3 channels, one of which is a comedy entertainment channel with things like pranks and like silly little challenges. The second one is a vlogging channel where if I ever go like traveling around the world or do anything exciting, I'll bring my viewers along with me and they can sort of share my experiences with me. And then my third channel is a gaming channel where essentially I just sit in my room and play games and people enjoy watching me play games. And there's a little clip on the screen of like what I do.
It's time for Sugg Sunday! Who's moved my camera? Without you guys and your support, none of this would have been possible. I am releasing a graphic novel. My name is Joe Sugg. I'm also known as Thatcher Joe on YouTube.
And here's Jayson.
Good afternoon. My name is Jayson Fittipaldi. I'm the Chief Creative and President of Nobox, and we're a social marketing innovation company. And essentially what we do is we create strategies and technologies that help our clients to reach users in a relevant way through social. And you know, it's been really interesting to see all the discussions around the potential or the power of working with influencers here at FOMLA this year. And it's no mystery to anybody. But at the same time, I know that a lot of agencies and brands have struggled with the process of how to do it and how to do it well, and really to maximize the potential and the possibilities of what you can do. You know, for us, it's been a journey in the last year or so where we've had the privilege to work with a lot of influencers and essentially be hands-on with the co-creation process. And throughout that journey, I've had the opportunity to work with great influencers like Blonde Abroad, also, of course, Ana Cardoso from Brazil, and of course, Bully, who's here with me, who I invited to come and speak with us here, because as a chief creative at the agency, there's always great influencers that really understand how to co-create together. And ultimately, you know, this has given us the opportunity to launch amazing campaigns, including the collaboration that we did with Marriott and GoPro. And we've added a great layer of influencers there. We're able to collaborate and do great things. and also with Copa Airlines, and for also promoting Panama as a tourist destination. And with that said, the biggest learning that I've had throughout this journey, and it's been an amazing journey, is that it's not about working with influencers, it's really about co-creating, and essentially seeing the influencer as a brand that will co-create with the brand that you manage. And with that said, I will pass the mic over to my good friend Bully.
Hi, my name is Héctor, but on the social media I'm known as Bully. I have a YouTube channel that is called Bullisteria. I have another YouTube channel that is called Bully. What I talk in my YouTube channel, my main channel is travel, but travel focused on making conscious about social causes. So I've been making conscious about diseases, about environmental problems, about things that are happening around the world. And well, also I have a secondary channel where I talk about my life. But mainly, I've been doing this for 9 years. So I was one of the first influencers, Spanish-speaking influencers in the whole Latin America region. So at the end of, while doing this, I've got contacted by some of the largest TV networks, and I've started working as a social media strategist. And I've been trying to push brands working with influencers. So that's been like my main job throughout the years, like pushing the media. And also I've been producing, so I've started producing, that gave me the opportunity to start producing things as films and theater plays down in Mexico. That's one of my passions. So I've been following this dream, so I'm gonna show you a little bit of what I do on my social media.
Hey, capapitas, ¿cómo están? Espero que se encuentren muy bien, porque yo he estado increíblemente ocupado. No tan ocupado como se encuentra Fer. No me sé la letra. Ya, 1, 2, 3. Gracias, Mario. Gracias, GoPro.
Thanks. So right now I'm gonna present Alice Ferraz.
Thank you. My name is Alice Ferraz. I'm going to read them, sorry, because otherwise I get lost here. So I'm the CEO and founders of F-Hits, which is a digital media influence platform. I started this F-Hits dream 4 years ago with the intention of sharing wishes, fashion, beauty, and lifestyle in a country where traditional media was not longer reaching all of us. So I'm going to share something, what we think about digital influencers. It's all about people. People are social and emotional beings, and we all feel need to be connected to one another. This is especially important in Latin America, where we are so emotional. We like to hear, but also we like to be heard. We like to get advice by whom we trust, love, and respect, and this exchange creates bond between us. The internet mobility and social networks have allowed us to expand our network of relationships. Of course, we keep in our hearts our childhood friends and family to whom we are connected. But now we can have new friends who are experts in things that eventually no other in our close circle knows about. And this is where F-Hits experience begins, helping brands to enter this conversation between people. By following some of the most essential rules of communication, we along with our network of influencers to create stories that generate bond between brands and consumers in a way that not other media has ever imagined. That's what you do, you guys, isn't it? It's people talking to people about their wishes, needs, and dreams. The way we work has generated recognition of specialized media, such as Fast Company magazine, who has given us an award as one of the most innovative companies in Brazil. And also many articles featuring media like New York Times, Vogue, or Business of Fashion in London. We also have recognition from major corporations, attracting brands such as Procter & Gamble, Tiffany, Unilever, Dior, Samsung, Ray-Ban, and many others. But most important, we have recognition from our audience that grows continuously, daily basis. We have 30 million page views, 11 million Instagram followers, and 300 million views video on YouTube. And we have some of 5,000 girls wanting to be an F-Hits influencer in Brazil. When we think about communication on global scale, like we are doing here today, we realize that we are already global only by operating in Brazil, and I'll explain you why. Within Brazil, we have cultural, climatic, and economic differences that bring a unique complexity and demand different forms of communication. It's a country equivalent in size of 85% of Europe, so it's very hard to communicate with all over Brazil. We have 30 digital influencers distributed throughout Brazil, delivering messages to target audience according to the briefing we get from our customers. We make brands be part of their lives and be truly involved. We are sure that when it's true on these 30 influencers, we'll be true to the long tail. People love people, and we love to create the right connections and put people together. That's F-Hits, put people together. Thank you.
So Chumel is one of the fastest rising stars. He was, I think, one of the quickest channels in the world to reach 1 million subscribers. Tell us more about El Pulso.
I'm sorry, sir. Yeah. My name is Chumel Torres. I'm the host and creator of a channel called El Pulso de la Republica. It's a politics and comedy channel, I know. And it's been going pretty fast since in Mexico we don't have such things as the Coba Report or Jon Stewart. Think of it like a Jon Stewart, but with really poor writing and comedy. So that's me. I'm gonna show you a clip. Thank you, you're alive, Jesus. I'll show you a clip of what we do, and I'm sorry for this. Go ahead.
¿Qué es el Pulso de la República?
¡Hoy!
¡Noticias!
El pasado miércoles apareció en una foto filtrada
El partido de izquierda por naturaleza. ¿Qué más quisiéramos de no ser así de básicos y ser más como Gandhi? Entrevistas.
Que te agarran un libro, cara. Un pinche libro, en serio. No seas mal hablado porque...
Perdón, no.
Es que puedo decir lo que se me pega la gana.
Andrés.
Como dicen ustedes.
Despierta mi sospechosismo.
Reportajes.
Sí, ¿ves? Dame el
Te voy a comprar una casota con un jardinzote.
Este es el flash.
Y la posibilidad de vestirme de mujer sin ser juzgado.
No se peleen, cabrones. Aquí estamos para dialogar, ¿ok? Hasta me hacen el show, papá.
See you in hell, mother.
Los amo, estupets. Suscríbete, estupet.
That's an actual painting. That's in Rome now. So, thank you. So this is what we do. We have a really big audience, and we just launched our US edition. So it's there's 2 shows for Mexico and 1 for the US. So there's a lot of cursing going on. So don't watch it unless you have a sailor mouth as me. So this is El Pulso de la República, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you all for those intros. So we have more than 300 hours, and it keeps on rising every day, so it's hard to keep up with, but 300 hours of content being uploaded to just YouTube every single minute. What do you guys think was the secret to your success? Bully, Joe, Chumel, what is it that has taken you to where you are now? And then, assuming authenticity is going to be a part of your answer, how do you bring brands into the mix without alienating your audiences?
I think the secret is being handsome. It's just that.
Yeah?
Being awesomely handsome.
What else I can do? Like
there's got to be more, I suspect.
No, it's part of the thing that engage sometimes people, but no, I think I've been passionate about it. It's been like when I started, this was really nothing. It was like you make videos, you upload a video, 3 people watch it, and it was like, hey, who's that other people? And it was my mom, and obviously it was like again my mom because he want to see it again. But after some time, people start coming, and it was like, okay, so I have this audience watching this, so I should experiment on what I would like to see. So the main thing that I think that has made YouTube popular is that we've been experimenting with the platform and trying to bring new things and trying to say, I have this big idea that I haven't seen before, I will do it.
Yeah, and for me, I think it was really important to be quite consistent. So uploading on a regular basis was very important, and also listening to your audience, finding out, because obviously the great thing about YouTube is the comment section, you can actually find out what worked well with your audience, and it's really sort of like, you really break down that wall between you and your audience in the comments. So like, if I did a video that I wouldn't normally do, I can always check the comments and see what they thought about it and learn from them. And by that way, I'm making content that my audience like want to see and stuff. What else?
So we heard handsome, passionate, consistent. But once you bring the brand into the mix, how is it that your users are still engaged? Why aren't they put off by the fact that, don't you get it, you're selling out? What is it that you do to make sure that the brands fit seamlessly?
I think one thing I'm really used to do is that I don't work with brands that I'm not used to normally like use. So I'm the first one that buys my my advertisement. You know, I would be the first one to say, hey, that was so cool. That guy made that with that brand. So I wouldn't relate with a brand that it's not something that I know. So I don't usually say I work with brands. I usually say that I have brand friends. So that's the collaboration that I do with them. And obviously, like, business has come up with this, and I live from doing this. But in the meantime, I have friends. I don't have like brands. I don't want to be that formal.
In our experience, it's a bit different because we're a political show. So we try to use brands like in a more social way. For example, our last campaign was with a really big telephone company in Mexico. And what I talked to these guys was that I wasn't going to give them, like a commercial. Instead, I asked for them to give me money, of course. And to start a social program with teachers. So I launched like an email contest in which everybody told me about a good professor, a science teacher or a biology teacher, and we give him a computer and a projector and internet for life to their school. So that was a brand situation, but also it wasn't like a in-your-face commercial. We do that a lot, and it's been working pretty well because, I mean, the people that watch the show, it's also thinking, yeah, it's money from brands, but they're doing a good thing. So you clean also the name of the brand, and it's not a commercial, an attacking one. So I think that's it.
I think about fashion and beauty, it's very easy because in the magazines, editorials, the same brands that are on the ads are on the editorials. So Chanel, it's a very big brand for Vogue, but it's also a big brand that is on the editorials. So what we do, it's the same brand that we love and we dress. But the thing is to have the brand in your life, I think has to be true. If it's not in your life, it's not going to be true, it's not going to, we will know in the...
I think a big defining moment for how brands realize how the success has been created by these guys online is the moment they realize that on these social video platforms and when they're watching these guys perform, no one cares about their brand. No one cares about your brand. They care about what these guys are saying and the way that they're entertaining them and all the things that I saw the guy from Millward Brown talking about just before we came on. That's what these guys have in shovels and naturally and totally authentically and organically. So it's for the brand to fit in with the content that these guys are creating absolutely seamlessly. And all of the really terrible brand engagements or brand approaches that we've had is when a brand turns up and says, look, this is what I want your talent to read out on their channel. Here's a script, read that auto cue, and it just doesn't work at all. It's got to start with the talent, with the creatives, and them work out how best it is for them to present the brand to their audience in a way that their audience would usually like to be entertained anyway.
Jayson, you emphasized that in your introduction. You talked about the importance of collaborating from the beginning.
So I think that the role of the agency today is extremely important in that process, because all the way from understanding what is the brand really looking for and then finding those perfect moments of authenticity. And that has to do with the most basic task, right? Just look around, see which influencers you think are interesting, but also which ones have been related to the brand in the past, so that when you do create something more engaging together, it feels real and it feels authentic. And ultimately, it all comes out of a great brainstorm session that you can have. And I can't tell you, the number of times that I've had amazing co-creation opportunities and have learned from working with influencers, because not only do they know their brand really well, but they are very creative. That is the reason why they've been so successful. And that creativity you can really leverage off. So as an agency, you can learn to find that as a good leverage point.
So as much as I would love that YouTube be the only platform, this is actually taking place on multiple platforms. How do you guys think about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? How does your creative concept change with the platform, and how should brands think differently about the different platforms to reach business objectives?
I think you have to get to know that. As for myself, I got to get on the point where I get to know that I was also a brand, that I was also a complete industry. I have my YouTube channel. It has a name, so eventually it's a brand. So when I consider it as a 360 business. You have your YouTube, you have your videos, but also your way of communicating in Facebook has to have a way to communicate, like an own style. Also your Instagram. I don't know, like all the social media platforms can be used in different ways, and you have to make a study on how you're gonna communicate, how there's gonna be an identity on each of the social media platforms.
And I think it goes down to different languages. I mean, in YouTube, for example, you cannot talk the same way to Facebook users. I mean, it all helps to your core business, which is YouTube, which is, making videos. But then through Facebook or Twitter, not Google Plus at all, but it helps your brand, But the thing is that, it can do a lot for your brand, like Bully said, in a more, in a more intimate way, because the main show it's YouTube, but the backstage it's people interacting with you on Facebook, on Twitter, or different.
Is it safe to assume you're happy that Google Plus is no longer integrated into YouTube? Is that what I read?
I'm not gonna say that, John. I'm sorry. Okay. No matter how hard you try.
Joe, what specifically do you do differently when you're on the different platforms? So beyond the content length, give us a little bit more insight into what it means to engaging users differently depending on the platform.
I think, well, for starters, I use other social medias a lot more frequently than I do with YouTube. So I'm sending sort of like 20 to potentially 30 tweets a day sometimes. Because the thing is with us as well, I'd say for most of us, our audience is so global that it's all over the world. So for me now, you just don't really switch off. Like, I could wake up at 3:30 in the morning and be like, well, the Australians are awake. Let's send a tweet to them, kind of thing. So, so I see I'm using like social media a lot more than I do YouTube, in a sense of putting content out. But to me, YouTube's like the most important one, and it's all kind of like comes off my YouTube. It just keeps it going. Whereas YouTube's like the main thing for me, and then my social media sort of help that. And there's a lot of people that have these social medias that you can see they're not sending their own tweets out. Someone else is doing it for them, and it's all just like, buy this, buy that, buy this. Whereas I think people appreciate it more, and they see you as more of a real person if you're tweeting what you had for breakfast and just general like mundane stuff. But.
So we heard one thing to try to do is to collaborate up front, get the artists as part of the content marketing development process so that we can leverage their creativity and they're not being forced to give a message that may not really resonate with them or with their audience. That's something you should do. One thing you shouldn't do is pass scripts. Let's just race down the line in 10 seconds. If you could give, and it's going to be hard for the last one, but one other good thing you should try to do as brands try to engage with influencers, and one thing you shouldn't do. Snappy, 5 seconds and 5 seconds.
You should be part of their lives, truly, and you shouldn't have scripts. This is the most awful thing about agencies, to come with a script and then they have to just read it. I think it's...
Everyone's thinking, because they don't want to repeat.
The positive thing I would say is authenticity, to be really yourself, or have really on the idea who you are and what you are communicating, because you also have a responsibility on the people that are watching you. That's a good thing. And the bad thing is that I wouldn't recommend is mirroring everything. That happened on the first stages of social media, that it says like connect to your social media, and the thing that you put here, it's gonna post on all your social media. Like if you're mirroring everything, it's not an original message.
I think it's important for brands to look for long-term relationships, and a lot of times in the haste and speed in which we work through campaigns, sometimes we're hasteful and we jump in and we try to get in bed, and you know what, you got to date for a while, and or else it just doesn't look authentic. So I guess the bad thing to do is just don't look for one-night stands.
I think you should, as a brand, you should let the creator have a lot more creative control on like the message you're trying to give out for the brand. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. So because they can come to you with an idea, but you could read through it, and if you know for a fact, because you know your audience better than anyone else, if you're a content creator. So I think it's important that the creator sort of responds back and says, look, we'll do it, but we'll do it under these circumstances. I'll do it this way, and you have a lot more control over, like, because you, at the end of the day, you know what your audience is going to want to see, and you can make it work a lot better if the creator has more input.
I would say just to back up what Joe just said, do listen to the talent. I've never, over the last 6 years, heard a talent say something that they think the brand should listen to about what their audience likes and then be wrong, ever. And don't ever assume that you do know how the audience is going to react.
I think. Now, it's the best you can do is have mutual respect, because we have a channel and we're inviting you home. So we know how to talk to our audience. Believe us, no? And the thing is that we as a channel know how to deal with our audience. You don't. So, I mean, and it's a different example for each channel. So let us do the talking. We would have respect for your brand also. And we won't let the deal to fall off. And we won't talk shit about your brand, because that's how we live. But also have, put your ear on the ground and let us do the talking. Because if we reached a point in which people like to listen to us, it's because of a reason. We know how to talk to them. So if you respect my channel, I respect your brand. That's it. Happily ever after.
And I have something more. No. And you can involve the talent on the creative process from the beginning, that you are planning some strategy. Like what happens on the most of the cases is that you, as a brand, they come up with all the plan, but not flexible. Like this is the thing that we want to do, and that's it. So you have to join what you are creating on your mind. You have to join it to the thing that we have already conceived. So if you involve the talent...
It's like Old Spice, for example. They're awesome commercials. You want to watch it. And it's commercial, but it's really good, and it talks to you, you know?
Yeah, and if you involve the talent from the beginning of that process, like making them like getting their hands dirty on the work and say like, hey, we're gonna make this from scratch. You as a brand, that us as a talent, we can make awesome things. So that's something I'm encouraging.
So I think it's clear that these guys are commanding huge audiences. I hope you believe that, because it's true. And very engaged audiences, lenient audiences. We've heard some high-level do's and don'ts, but not too many brands have actually started, right? And I think one of the things that marketing directors deal with, media buying agencies, is that they have to reach really aggressive objectives, and it's very hard for them to engage one-on-one with individual channels and do things at scale, right, that really move the needle. And it almost feels like every time that you engage with someone, it's like a completely new process. Is that the only way to work? Or help us understand, and maybe Jayson, Dom, and Elise can shed a little bit more light on what content marketing actually means for your specific properties. Like, do you do native advertising and just integrate the brand? Chumel talked about an example where he did basically a nonprofit initiative, but could you actually replicate that at scale? How do you think about solving problems for brands in a way that every time they sit down with you, it's not kind of reinventing the wheel, or is that really the only way to approach it?
Sometimes it is, but like in F-Hits, I will have 30 influencers. What we try to do is to talk to the brand and then see what is the point that they want to reach. So like, I'm going to give an example about Torres, a Greek brand. They wanted to enter in Brazil, and we made a strategy about 10 influencers talking about the brand, but then we stay for 4 months before talking about Greece, beauty of Greece, beauty of everyone, every channel talking about the beauty in their own way. So you really have to have a storytelling. You have to be with the influencers together so they can know the brand, know what they want, talk what they want, but the objective is the same.
And in that case, how do you price it? Do you
I price
basically
with ads, branded content, and then Instagram, blogs, and YouTube. So we have kind of map, 360 map about everything. But as he said, you cannot just put your ad in everything. Like some agencies come and they say, okay, let's put the same view in Instagram, blog, and YouTube, and then it's kind of, that's not true. It's never going to happen like this. So about Greece, we ended all the thing we did in Greek, in Athens, with all the influencers. So was a superstar from TV, was bloggers, were it girls, were a singer, and they all were together talking about this.
Jayson, how do you address the question of scalability for large brands?
So, I mean, the campaigns that we do are, they're very broad and regional campaigns. And essentially, the influencer marketing component of it is really where we try to find those, true, authentic moments of brand interaction, because people tend to, gravitate towards those. And then we have great ways of amplifying that, right? So whether it's, media buyings or social media buys or, but ultimately it is a full campaign, and there's an entire strategy behind it that starts from the more traditional side. There's a good strategy, and then once we start collaborating with influencers and really trying to create that layer, then it becomes a much more of a creative process, which in many ways makes its way back to the broader campaign, so it all feels integrated, and everybody who interacts with that brand during that campaign, they have that sense of authenticity. We find them, we do the targeting that we need to find them in the right places. So I think we're at a really good place right now where there is the opportunity to pretty much target anyone at any time with the right message. And if you have great content, you're gonna win.
Dom, do you feel like there's been enough traction where there's a real marketplace and the pricing is something that the advertisers and agencies can get their arms around? I feel like sometimes they go into conversations and they have no idea once they get the initial quote are they paying too much? Are they paying too little? Because it's not just reach, right? You're not just selling the eyeball, you're selling the quality of the engagement and the ability to really change business metrics, whether it's brand recall, whether it's intent to purchase. So how do you address advertisers' concerns that the pricing, it's not very clear, there's no rate table, right?
And this is a question that gets asked a lot, as you can imagine, kind of like, well, why are we paying that price to be involved with talent like Joe? And I think the answer is, which kind of plays off what everyone's been saying, is I don't think there is a way you can commoditize this type of talent and the relationship that this talent have with their audience. Each big brand that wants a relationship or wants a campaign with a big talent has got to deal with it on a really bespoke level. I think that you can commoditize, and it's down to the media agencies and the advertising agencies and agencies like Jayson's to, have their skill in being really clever at using the commoditized media like TrueView and so on and so forth to amplify that. But what what Joe and these guys give is something that you can't put a rate card on, and I hope you never do, because it depends on the brand and the talent. What we will never do is try and pitch these prices way above the value that they're delivering, yeah? And any good marketeer will know when it's not delivering value. It'll be obvious in the results, and we're pretty confident about that, so.
Well, I really want to thank all of you, and I hope that you learned something in the last 40 minutes. Thank you. Jeremy?
Fabulous, guys. What a fantastic session to end before lunch. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you.